Hi folks, this is Dr. Jeff Camarda. Welcome to my brief video on what trusts are and why you should probably have one. Now, trusts are probably among the most flexible and powerful estate and asset control tools around. While it can get complicated real fast, the basics are pretty simple to understand and to apply. Now, trusts can be far more effective than wills for most estate planning, and you really should think of a trust as a bucket you put assets into, with a trust wording controlling what happens to the assets, who can use them, and how. When you put assets into a trust, they will be titled in the name of the trust, not yours or a joint titling with your spouse anymore. Your statements will read something like John Jones, trustee of the Jones Living Trust, dated July 4th, 2017, instead of John Jones or John and Jane Jones. Revocable trusts or revocable trusts can be changed, and you can take the assets out, spend them, do whatever you please. With irrevocable trusts, you can't, unless you build a backdoor called decantability, but most of you will only be interested in revocable trusts that you can change. Now, a living trust is just one that's created and functions while you are still alive. That's the living part. Excuse me, compared to testamentary ones that are created at death by your will. Living trusts have a number of distinct advantages, and most of you will want to use them. These include confidentiality, strong protections against cognitive issues and avoiding guardianships later on, and big savings on probate fees. Legal costs are typically the same, so living trusts can be real bargains and are far superior in my view. There are three important titles in trust lingo. The first is the grantor or settler, which just means the person or persons who dump the assets into the trust. The trustee is the manager who gets statements, writes checks, hires investment managers, and operates the trust according to the trust rules. Do we give the kids some money? Or they want to buy a motorcycle? We don't give the kids some money. The beneficiaries, there can be one or hundreds of beneficiaries, are the people or entities for whose benefit the trustee runs the trust. These three players can all be initially the same people, and this is typical of most family trusts. Initial beneficiaries are the parents, contingent beneficiaries are the kids. Here's a typical pattern. John and Jane, as grantors, put their non-IRA assets into the new living trust. The trust also has special language to allow it to be the IRA's beneficiary and still preserve important tax advantages. This is called conduit language. It's very, very important, but often missed, so make sure that you get it. Tell your lawyer that you want conduit language and make sure they understand what it is. It's important to prevent the kids from getting a ton of money too fast and blowing it, which is why you want to make the IRA the beneficiary of the trust rather than the kids outright. John and Jane are co-trustees, the parents that can each direct accounts and write checks. John and Jane are also the primary beneficiaries and use the trust to fund their retirement income. If one of them loses cognitive capacity, the other still runs the trust as trustee. If they both do, their daughter June takes over as contingent trustee using a doctor's note or whatever test is prescribed in the trust. This could save a ton of cost and hassle avoiding guardianship. When John and Jane both pass, the trust splits into three subtrusts for June, James, and Julian. If the children are smart, they leave the assets in their new trusts instead of taking them out and putting them in joint names with their spouses. This protects against divorce risk. Make sure the grandkids, Julia, Justin, Jan, and Juno, and the others, eventually get the family wealth. These kids' trusts have special language to protect the assets against lawsuits, creditors, and other threats. Naming the siblings as protectors of the other's trusts, Julian as June's protector, for instance, can offer additional protection from financial creditors in divorce and help keep the family fortune intact. Now, Camarda's free 7-point wealth health checkup report can give you a lot more information on this and other important areas. We'd love to send it to you at no cost or obligation. Just click on the link for it now. It's free. We'll be happy to get it out to you. Hopefully you found that edifying. I'm Dr. Jeff Camarda. Thanks for watching. See you next time.